What's good? Good morning. I'm seeing a lot of content creators talking about the most recent Epstein files release, and I'm not surprised by any of it. Most people who have been seeking truth the last couple of years, we're not surprised. Like, this is what we've been trying to tell you. But I am seeing a lot more people wake up to sort of what's going on, and it's very encouraging. I don't specifically actually want to talk about the files and what's in the files. Yes, our world is ran by satanic pedophiles. Okay, yep. So we accept that, but now the question is, what systems do they use to oppress us and control us, and how can we resist? Those are kind of the things that are on my mind, because like I said, we've known for years this is what's going on. So if you're new to the party, it's kind of wild. Yeah, I agree. It's wild to think that our government and our banks and our corporations have all been captured by satanic pedophiles, but it's true, unfortunately. So now the question becomes, well, how can we detangle ourselves from that monster, and how can we resist? And so I want to put out a thought experiment or ask a question that can capitalism exist without central banks? Central banks being one of the tools that the Epstein people, the elites, the aristocracy, the ruling class, whatever you want to call them, central banks are one of the tools that they control monetary and fiscal policy, which controls your life, which has trickle-down effects into how your life is impacted. They also use the government, which partners with corporations to screw people over by removing their rights, by lowering their standards of living, there was another one, what was it? Surveillance, by the way that they surveil us. They use the mass media, mainstream media, to manipulate the masses, to social engineer the masses. And so when I think of capitalism, I don't think of any of that stuff. I don't think of the giant corporations. I don't think of the government. I don't think of the central banks. I think of the average working class individual who uses their labor and their creativity to transform their material surroundings, to create and to contribute to their society, to their community. I see capitalism as freedom. The freedom to live my life the way I want to interact with the people that I want to exchange in the way that I want to, without interference and without restrictions that come from the government, come from the banks, that come from the corporations, that funnel all of your resources and our resources up to the top. So my ultimate question is, can we detangle capitalism from the central banks, from the aristocracy, from the state? I think we can, but I would like to hear other people's ideas on if we can or cannot, or if we can't. If the ultimate conclusion is no, we cannot detangle these things, what then is the solution? obviously some people are going to say, oh, well, it's socialism. They think it's just that easy. Oh, it's socialism. No, it's not that easy, because socialism uses the control mechanisms that we were just discussing. It uses the central banks, and it uses the corporations, and it uses the government. That's what people don't understand. That it's not individuals wanting sovereignty and agency and wanting the ownership of their being. That's not the problem. But the social engineers have really done a good job at programming this idea that it is your neighbor who is really your enemy, and not the state, not the Epstein people. It's not the elites. They've done a really good job at this. And so, excuse me. And so I did an interview on Karen Holton's channel, Quantum Guides, earlier this week. I'll try to remember to link it in the description, because it was a really good conversation. And I sort of talked about my conception of how the next few hundred years are going to play out. And I don't believe in my lifetime, or even in my children's lifetime, we're really going to see the dissolution of the state, the dissolution of these oppressive entities, the ruling class, the satanic pedophiles. I do think they have a few more hundred years of playing their little game before eventually things just sort of implode from within. Whatever the technocracy looks like, just there's going to be, in my opinion, an implosion from within. And then at that time, when they have mostly taken care of themselves, we will be able to return to the planet. And which sounds crazy. My brain immediately goes to like mole people hiding underground. I don't think that's really what's going to happen. I think the key is just for those of us who can get away, to just get away from the big cities. They'll not be able to control the entire land space of the planet. There will be pockets of resistance. And so earlier in the video I had mentioned, what does resistance look like, or how can we resist? And I see resistance as doing everything you can to retain your agency, to retain your autonomy, to retain your sovereignty as a spiritual being having this physical experience. And so by retaining those things, and by returning or by investing in the planet, that's how we can resist. We just need to make sure that we remember how to farm, that we remember how to raise livestock. We need to remember how to just interact with and support Spaceship Earth as it provides for us. We have the ability, thanks to this regenerative resource known as Spaceship Earth, to take care of millions of years of humans if we do so in the correct manner. And the correct manner, to me, involves capitalism, or a better name for what I believe we should have, which is freedom. The freedom of association, the freedom to do what we want, the freedom to not have our lives intruded upon by an external force. So that's what I think the next few hundred years are going to look like. It's going to be some people moving into the technocracy, and some people moving towards the planet. I believe the planet's the right option. Technology is cool. I'm not at all anti-technology. I am not Ted Kaczynski, even though there might be some overlaps, but I'm not super anti-technology. I'm anti-state. I am anti-central banking, anti-central authority. That's what I'm anti. All of those things are the roots of humanity's oppression. Yes, the environment sometimes fucks with us. That can be a source of oppression, having to deal with hurricanes and earthquakes and tropical storm, all the things that the planet can do that are, create adversity for us. Uh, but those are, yeah, nature. That's us just interacting with nature. It's not us interacting with other humans trying to control us. It's a way different source of adversity. We need to remove the human sources of adversity that prevent us from flourishing as a collective, which I believe is banks, governments, corporations, and how they all work together, as implicated in the Epstein files. If you don't know, I would highly encourage you to check all of that out. And if you do know, let's work together on rebranding or renaming or coming up with a new ism that encompasses how we should live post technocratic era. Thank you very much. Much love.